Hi, this is Hs10's and welcome back. Today we have got you the manliest weapon ever created, the dual Hs10's in lovely gold camo with the beautiful emblems on the side of them. I did love that, the fact you had two emblems on them. I love the fact that you could create your own emblem, and I really do hope they bring that back in Black Ops 2. But yes, these weapons, they look like they should destroy everything. But unfortunately they have about 4 foot of range and you just get hit markers with them perpetually. Which is a slight irritant, but you still just feel like such a boss when you're running with them. You're like, yeah, gonna destroy the world, and nothing really transpires from it, which is unfortunate. But as I was before I forget, I always had an aim of getting 100 plus with them, but I never managed to achieve it. This was probably the closest I got to them. I died one off a kill streak twice, which was off a chopper gunner once and a black dogs once, but I still managed to get this sexy little thing. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Unfortunately, it was broken up by some kid connecting to the game and another kid falling into second chance. Don't really understand why second chance deserved to be in the kill feed. I think that's a bit out of order, but what are you going to do? Anyway, that's enough about the gameplay. Today we're going to start off by saying I'm going to try, you'll have noticed over my last few videos, the picture quality's been a bit off. That's mainly down to, I've been trying to stick on some colour correction, and sort of a couple of people who a while back said that my videos might look better with colour correction, so I've been trying it out, and I have to say they don't really look that much better, and a lot of you been complaining that the quality's off, the brightness is too high, and various other things. So I'm going to give up with colour correction, well, for the time being anyway. And the other reason is, for some reason, as soon as I put colour correction on, it sticks my render time up to about 3 hours. I mean, my computer's pretty shocking anyway. I mean, it's a bit out of date now. It's about 4 years old, and it takes me about an hour to render a video out anyway, maybe a bit under. But if I put colour correction on, it sticks up to about 3 hours, which is a little bit lengthy, and I'd rather not be sitting around waiting for my thing to render out that long. So yeah, I think I'm going to persist with the colour correction for the time being, and please let me know whether you think it looks better with the colour correction or whether it looks better in its raw, unaltered beauty as it is at the moment. But yeah, I really appreciate you guys telling me. Secondly, I want to point out that I actually tried to link you a video to the second round of the commentator competition in the last video, but that round hasn't gone live yet, and I don't think it's going live till later in the week. The other guy that I'm against hasn't submitted the video yet, so we're waiting for the round is waiting for him to submit his video, and then it will go live for the viewing public to witness. So yeah, you'll probably end up getting 3 videos from me this week. Might be a lucky treat for you, we shall see. But what am I about? The next thing I'm going to go on to is sort of a tale from America crossed with my uniqueness, shall we leave it at that. This story comes actually from the beginning of our trip, was when we were in San Francisco. I've kind of left this one out because it's slightly embarrassing towards me. It was me being a bit of a muppet, we'll leave it at that. And this story takes place as one day we were in San Francisco. We were there for a week, and we decided to hire bikes out so we could go over to the Golden Gate Bridge, cycle across the Golden Gate Bridge, and down the lovely little, really windy avenue, which the name eludes me currently. But yeah, and we decided to take the bikes around this and around the parks and everything. It was a beautiful city to cycle around. I'd really recommend it if you do go to San Francisco. And after we kind of crossed the Golden Gate Bridge, we were coming back across, and we went to a supermarket and bought some bread and some sandwich meats and some other stuff for lunch. And we decided to go and sit down on the beach to eat our meal. And as we were cycling down, we decided that it would be quite fun to see how far we could cycle into the sand on the bikes. Now, I'm sure everyone is aware that bikes do not work particularly well on sand, so we decided to cycle on and see how far we could get. And Tom and Josh went first and got about 3 meters into the sand before having to stop. The bikes gave up on going any further distance. And then it was mine and Chris's turn to go down this sort of slope onto the beach. And Chris somehow managed to get slightly in front of me, and as he hit the sand, he somehow his whole bike turned a complete right angle and flipped out in front of mine. So as I got to the sand, my bike hit his bike and sort of flipped over. And for some reason, I have no idea why, I didn't react to this in the slightest, and my reaction was just to hold on to the handlebars and see where it went. And I ended up face planting into the sand and sort of getting stuck with the bike on my back, to much amusement of my friends, who then proceeded to carry on laughing whilst I was stuck under this bike in quite an rather awkward position, and it was quite painful having my legs sort of up round back behind my ears. And my friends were rather slow on the uptake of coming to help me remove the bike from on top of myself. But that said, they did eventually get around to removing the bike off of me, and Yes, it was an embarrassing moment, but this kind of leads me on to the next part of this story, the fact that I am rather clumsy and not particularly graceful when it comes to push bikes. A few years back, I used to do quite a lot of jump biking, and I was in the woods with a mate, and we had these lovely jumps that were set out for us, and we were going over them, and I decided going over the one, I'd try and do a no-footer as I went over, which is, as you go over the jump, you take your feet off your pedals and try and almost do the splits on your saddle. I'm not quite flexible enough to be able to do splits, so I just kicked my legs out, and as I came back, I put my foot on, but didn't get my foot square on the pedal, so as I landed, the pedal spun up into my shin, and where these pedals are on the jump bikes, if you ever had one, they have quite large spikes, so your feet obviously get better pliancy on them so you don't fall off, and these spikes dug into my leg, and with the force of me landing and pushing my foot down onto support myself as we landed, the spikes went into my leg and ripped up, which was slightly painful, I'll be honest. I made some very large holes in my shin. I actually subsequently had to have 5 or 6 stitches in my shin from where this pedal ripped my leg, which was a little bit embarrassing, but what are you going to do about it? And it was brilliant up until the point I landed and I didn't even notice that I'd done it, and I was like, wow, that was pretty. I balls that up a bit, and my mate was just looking at my leg, going, "Oh!" And I looked down, and I was like, "Oh shit!" It's sort of when you get a really big cut, you don't often necessarily feel it, and it was a bit of a mess of my leg. Fortunately, there was a scout group just around the corner in the woods who managed to patch my leg up with some butterfly stitches, and we went down to casualty and fixed me up properly. But this sort of leads me on to another incident with my bikes. Recently, Josh broke his leg. And we've been trying to rehabilitate him slightly by going on bike rides just to sort of get back his the bone where he broke it very badly, so sort of get the joints, the parts of the bone to mesh together and rejoin, so he can sort of do everything normally again. And we've been going on the bike rides, and we went the other day, and I managed to fall off over the handlebars again after getting the wheel stuck in a hoof print as I tried to flick the back wheels over a little tree stump, which was rather embarrassing to say the least. But the worst part was the other day we were going and we were coming down this wonderful little strip, and it was literally the most ideal downhill section ever. It was down through a little footpath in the middle of the woods, and you sort of had to weave your way between sort of rabbit holes and tree stumps. It was great, so much fun going down this. We got about halfway down, you go very fast at this point, and I stuck on the brakes, and neither of the brakes worked, and I just carried on going full pelt down towards the end of this track, and at the end of this was just a fence, and you had to get off to get through the fence, and I'm just going full pelt at this thing, and I'm thinking, oh shit, I'm never going to stop. Somehow, rather uncharacteristically, I managed to gracefully get off the bike. Unfortunately, the bike didn't quite so gracefully end up in the same respect as me, ended up smashing into a tree and breaking the brakes and the light on the front of it. Amazingly, I was quite impressed that I managed to get off this. Anyway, guys, this video has come to a close. I hope you enjoyed these extracts from my clumsiness and rather inadequacy on a bike. And please leave me a comment telling me about the colour correction. I would really appreciate it. Anyway, guys, thank you very much for listening to me natter on here. It is much appreciated. Please leave me a like and a comment, and I shall see you in the next video. Thank